So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. I know that you're all very busy people, so I really appreciate you giving up your time for us. My name is Camilla Marks. I am the CEO and founder of ParenTalk. My previous business was Toddler Talk, which was a social enterprise where we supported parents in that early milestone stage, supporting them with optimal speech, language, and communication development, and maybe also looking at early indicators of autism and how parents can begin to support their own children in that area for optimal milestone development. What I learned from Toddler Talk was that children grow up and parents need ongoing support as the developmental journey continues. So what I realized very much was that we needed to broaden out that offer and also to make sure that we reached parents where they were. Okay, so we want to give parents as much important advice and information that they need at any given time that they need it. And so where can we find them, and how can we help them, and how can we support them then in their day-to-day lives? So that's when the idea for ParenTalk was born. It's almost 12 months now that we are in development. We are a startup, and like most startups, you have a research and development phase, and that is what we've been doing for the last 12 months. And what I'd like to do for you today is to share that with you, share our insights, share our research. We spoke to many, many parents. We spoke to many HR managers and leaders in the HR space, because what we wanted to figure out is how can we build that bridge for what parents need, employee well-being, and how perhaps that we can facilitate that as part of a workplace employee well-being initiative. I'd also like to introduce you to Sharon Fennelly. Sharon is here with us this morning. She is a much admired parent expert of mine, which as my daughter grew older, the issues changed, and I reached out to Sharon, and so much so that I invited Sharon to be part of the ParenTalk expert team. So she's going to chat a little bit later about her journey and the work that she does. So without further ado, I'll just let you know what we're going to talk about this morning. And one second now. Can you tell me that you can see a big screen and it has agenda at the top of it? If someone could just maybe put a smiley face into the chat. Excellent. Wonderful. So we are going to start with what our parents are telling us. So as I said, we spoke to a lot of parents, and we're going to talk to you about what they told us about their journeys. We're going to talk you through to some of the perspectives or the general themes emerging from HR managers and industry leaders in the HR space. Also to how you can actually increase organizational engagement with effective wellbeing programs. And then within that context, how ParenTalk can help an organization support parents as part of employee wellbeing and build a family-friendly workplace environment. So our parents have, and I know this too from my 20 years working with parents, that one of the big issues that they have is finding the right support at the right time. So across the childhood developmental span and across the parenting journey, there will be multiple concerns that could arise at any given time. And often the stress and anxiety gets turned up because we don't know what to do, or we're not getting the right advice and support. And we also know that parents then can often bring that into the workplace. So from a workplace perspective, an indicator that you see in front of you, the problem in front of you from a HR perspective might be an impact on productivity or on absenteeism, on performance. But underneath that problem, there might be huge levels of anxiety and concern that are being caused by a parenting issue. And the general parenting issues, or the general themes that have emerged for us over the past 12 months of our research, are things like this. So too much time on the screen, the invasion of that into our family lives, and not all bad. Okay, so screen time, well, we should be kind of careful here. Technology isn't bad. We need technology for good, and there's a lot to offer. But what's concerning parents is the security of our children, their psychological, their emotional, and often their physical security if they're online and we don't know what's going on. Another issue parents have is homework. Comes up a lot. It has a huge pressure on family life. I'm in two minds about it, because anything that creates more pressure or conflict in the home we don't want to see. So I help parents a lot with strategies around, like, homework is important. It's good to affirm what your child is doing at school, but how can we help it maybe get done quicker and more efficiently without too much conflict? Another big issue arising for parents is the whole area of peer pressure. My daughter's now 10, so I can see this coming through thick and fast. So really that sense of where they are in the world in relation to their peers and the amount of issues that brings up. And again, parents need support and information around that. Things like body image, things like friendship dynamics, things like bullying. Bullying happening both in school and online. Sibling rivalry comes up a lot. Now, huge issues here, mental health and the onset of the teenage years. And that is coming, and I actually heard this week too, Oliver Callan talking a lot about this, about school refusal. So, and often underneath that problem of refusing to go to school can be the pressures around mental health and what's going on from a peer pressure perspective. Sex education is coming up a lot because our children are now accessing much more information, much differently than we would have. And our children, as they're moving into those teenage years, being targeted with access to pornography, and the rise in that then impacting how we feel about relationships and how we feel about ourselves. And that's becoming a huge issue. So we nearly need a whole organization in and of itself for screen time and those things. However, we don't have that right now. ParenTalk are working very hard on developing supports in this area for parents. Now, so right, so these are kind of like the general sort of themes that are emerging that parents are telling us that are worrying them. And then if you have those general ongoing worries, but then also perhaps have a child with a developmental or learning or neurodiversity concern, and what I'm talking about here is autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, anxiety and worries coming up a lot, early milestone development, emotional and behavior concerns. I've toddler tantrums in here because not that it's an indicator of a neurodiversity concern, but when I worked with parents in that early milestone stage, toddler tantrums were actually having a huge impact for parents. So this takes up a lot of space in the cognitive and emotional landscape. So when we look at that, and then we look at where parents spend quite a lot of their time, which is at work, what we're seeing then is that that's getting carried into the workplace. So when they're worried about finding the right advice at the right time, are we doing the right thing? What support should school be giving? I do so much work with parents on this. Parents just not understanding the level of input school would typically have across certain issues, and they have guidelines and policies in place. And how can we help parents navigate that? Parents worried, are they doing enough? There's a lot to juggle. Morning routines, excuse me, is a huge issue for parents because in any given morning, as we know, getting everybody out the door in a peaceful and calm manner very rarely happens. So I would often talk to parents about setting up good morning routines, but employers could help so much here by a flexible start time, having an extra 10 or 15 minutes to just have a bit of space after that busy morning can really, really support employee well-being, trust me. So looking at how then that could be made up at a different time. So, and also if you have children with developmental concerns, you're going to have an ongoing heightened anxiety and hypervigilance. And I suppose back to then, what does that mean for employee well-being? Well, underneath the surface are what's going on perhaps for your employee, and how could you support them as part of effective well-being. So these are the voiced out concerns, just some of the actual words that we've had from parents. I worry so much. Are we doing this right? There's just so much to do. Okay, so it's a wonder they get to work at all, parents, because there's so much. However, so it's what typically as a parent you're going to have these ongoing generalized concerns, but you know there are ways that we can help turn the dial down on this anxiety. Now, so then trying to build the bridge from what's going on for parents and where they spend a lot of their time, and we're talking about people and industry leaders in the HR space, we spoke to a lot of industry leaders in this space about their challenges in supporting employees in the well-being space, okay? So they're telling us, and you're telling us, is that everybody's busy. There's not an awful lot of time on any given day. So when it comes to this, it's finding time to get it right. The communication as well of employee wellbeing supports can be a little bit inconsistent, and maybe not always the message not going out. And also when employees participate in wellbeing supports and programs, that they don't always get the feedback that they need to justify keeping that going. And then also participation being an issue, not always high levels of the participation that you would expect. So what's happening here is that across the communication, time, and getting the feedback, it's like, are we actually doing the right thing here? Is what we're bringing in really having an impact? And that is really important when, as employers, we want to help our employees bring their best selves to work, and we don't see a lot of participation in what's on offer. A lot of what might be going on is what's now being called well-being washing. And this is a term I came across very recently, and it made a lot of sense to me because we see a lot of generic programs and apps out there in the well-being space, but are they actually meeting the individual need? So well-being washing means really that we have stuff there because we know we should have well-being stuff in place, but is it actually genuinely meeting the right need at the right time? And so we know that a broken clock is only right twice a day. So is the well-being offer personalized to what I need? And if I don't need yoga, and if I don't need nutrition advice, and if I don't need I don't need another app, or I don't need to be always telling you how I'm feeling, then maybe I'm not going to participate. So we know that concerned parents, they do need so if we have a concerned parent, they want support, they want information, they want it at the right time. So how can we personalize that and make sure they're getting it? We know that organizations that offer wellbeing programs and include one or more of these pillars will see an increased 21% discretionary effort. And that is a very important measure, because discretionary effort, which means when we see employees doing more above and beyond their job description or their role description, we know that that's an indicator of organizational engagement. Okay. So where I'm going with this is, if we get it right, okay, so if we get the well-being initiative right and it's meeting the right need, it's good for business. And that's important because we're in business and we want to make sure that what we're doing has an impact too on bottom line. So businesses with engaged workers will have a 23% higher profit. Gallup is telling us, again, when we get the engagement piece right, we're going to see decreases in absenteeism, increases in productivity, and increases in profitability. So from the perspective of justifying why you might want to bring well-being initiatives into the organization, the numbers are there telling us that doing it right will actually be good for business. We also know that when we improve the mental well-being of employees and their families, this will significantly improve a company's bottom line. We know when we support parents at work that we'll see increase in productivity, job satisfaction, and engagement. And then the big question is, when we pull back the curtain on ParenTalk, is, well, where do you guys come in? So as I've told you already, we've spent 12 months in the research and development phase before we even built anything, because we really needed to figure out what the challenges were on both sides of this fence. And what we discovered then led us to the development of ParenTalk, which is an online platform which enables us for a broader reach. We have on our platform a live lunch and learn schedule across a wide array of potential parent developmental concerns, which we regularly add to as we see these themes emerging and arising. We curate and we filter on-demand content to parents who we know have specific interests or concerns in specific areas. And we do that to get the right advice to them at the right time across a number of multiple modes and devices. We address individualized problems through an ongoing email query capacity. And we have one-to-one consultations to dig and drill deeper when parents need that upon request, capacity dependent, depends on what the organization needs. We include employees' partners, and that's a big thing for us, because if you're co-parenting and you're in a dual partner relationship, everybody needs to kind of be carrying the same message. All our experts are parents too. coming from an evidence-led background. We have a community support feature, and our short courses are currently in development. So this is what our live lunch and learn schedule looks like. Like I said, it's a snapshot of the different webinars that we offer, and we have engagement opportunities when employees come to our webinars. As I said, we have curated support and advice and information that we filter through these different community sections that are categorized dependent on parental concern. The parent exchange there covers all those kind of generalized concerns that parents might have. We don't want to overload parents with information that's not relevant. We also catalog our support through articles and podcasts. Now, this is our lovely team. We've also, I'm delighted to see her here today. We've also added somebody else, Myrne Sadler, I'm delighted has joined us. She's an ADHD expert. But the person who's going to talk to us now is Sharon Fenley. I'm delighted Sharon could come and agreed to have twisted Sharon's arm 12 months ago to join us. And I'm so glad she's here, and she's going to talk to us this morning and give you all a break from me. Hi, Sharon.
Great. Thanks, Camilla. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Camilla, for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself to you all this morning. So I was really excited when Camilla approached me 12 months ago to be part of this team. I'm a mum of two girls, a teen and a preteen. And I suppose, like the rest of you that have children, there's lots of challenges on that journey from when they were born to where they are now. And bigger kids, bigger problems, I'd nearly say now at the moment. And I suppose on my parenting journey, I would have loved to have had somewhere that I could go, that I knew I could get expert advice when I needed it, because I often found myself down a rabbit hole of research and trying to find information and really maybe not getting what I needed in that time and wasting a lot of time. So I was delighted when I saw Camilla had put together this program and thought it was fantastic. So who I am and what do I do? Well, I am a life coach, and I work mainly with parents, with children, teens and young adults. And I suppose how I started working with parents and children, it actually comes from my own experiences and my own daughter, my youngest daughter, Annabelle. I say she's the gift that keeps on giving to me. So when she was about 6, I sort of noticed she's one of these children that's a really deep thinker. Some people would call her a worrier, but I prefer the deep thinker, or sometimes I refer to her as Miss Health and Safety, because she would worry a lot. She would think about what could go wrong instead of maybe how things could go great. And what I noticed, her terminology was very much, what if I don't like it? What if I don't make friends? What if no one talks to me? And it tended to be sort of in the negative. And what I found was it was really holding her back from doing things that I knew she would enjoy if I just got her in the door. So I started doing a lot of research and study, and I came across this amazing concept called growth mindset, and all the research that went behind that, 30 plus years of research that went into growth mindset and the benefits of it for young people and families. And I tried all the different techniques out on my guinea pig children, and I saw the difference that it made in how they approach challenges, because really children face challenges every single day. Even getting out to school, being in school for some children is a big challenge. Homework is a challenge, all the things that Camilla talked about. And their mindset and their attitude towards it has a huge role to play in how they approach these challenges. So I started then running workshops and talks for parents and children, and now what I do, and I've been doing for the last number of years, I run workshops, talks, I go into schools, but I also work one-on-one with parents and with children, and I help them not only with mindset, but a big area that I work in is helping young people with anxiety, with day-to-day anxiety, generalized anxiety, separation anxiety, social anxiety, which is huge now since COVID. A big issue for young people, particularly young girls and teen girls, friendship issues, bullying, self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem. So all these sort of areas are the areas that I tend to spend a lot of time working with families and young people. So I suppose that's just a little bit about me, and I'm really, really looking forward to being part of your parenting journey or your team's parenting journey, and hopefully helping them in whatever way I can to help them, because as I know, you know, how we are and what's going on at home does have a big impact on how we show up in our professional life. And having that right support there sort of by our side is really important. So thanks very much. And I hope to get to know a lot of you over the next while.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I really appreciate that. And so back to me as it was. As I promised, we would only take 30 minutes for this webinar, and we're getting close to that. So no panic, we will be leaving in a timely manner, because I know from talking to you that time is really important. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more information about ParenTalk. As I said, we can be accessed across multiple modes. We deliver our support and our advice and our guidance through dynamic multiple mode delivery, one-to-one and one-to-many. The features that we built into ParenTalk came about because we really grew to understand what the problems and challenges were for those of you in the HR space, right? So a big thing for us is that we make sure the onboarding is seamless. I won't go into the nitty gritties right now, but basically we take over once you send one email, once you send one expression of interest or invitation to participate, we take over after that. And we also develop those comms for you. There might be a need for reminder emails, because as we know, information filtering down can be difficult, but we take over. So we don't make your job harder. We make it easier. We do the work, all the work. And then we engage in that ongoing communication process, and we coordinate everything about our services, our events. We do all of that. The onboarding that we do, the process that we've discovered is most efficient and effective for you guys, is that ensures the security around GDPR, and also no concerns for you around your internal security, your internal server security. So we know that that is an issue for a lot of business and organizations. We take care of gathering the feedback. We are in our early stages, and so we also like to hear, as I said, one of the things I really want to know is all your thoughts, ideas, criticisms, constructive or not, because we're in an ever evolving, ever refining process, right? So ParenTalk is in its early stages, and as we refine and evolve, we want to hear more and more what works best for you. So right now we have our entry level early adopters package that we're very happy to discuss with any organization. That's available to check out on our Join Us page on our website. And if anybody wants to reach out to myself, I'll share my contact details with you just before we close, to chat about whether your organization has specific needs that you want us to support with. More than happy to chat through that. My contact details are here for you. It's camilla@outlook.ie. My phone number is there because one of the things too is I'm really happy to talk on the phone. I think we don't do that enough anymore. And there's a lot of time like sending emails. And so feel free to reach out to me by telephone. And before we go, I just wanted to share, I will put that slide back up before I close out. But one thing one story I wanted to share with you, which really kind of triggered why I started ParenTalk. And this was during COVID, I was running Toddler Talk, and then COVID hit, and I went back to work full time in an organization, and I got that position just as COVID started. And I remember it was the day of the lockdown being announced that came through, that job was starting. And one of the things that I remember about the lockdown being announced was that I was very far away. I was up in the wilds of Donegal delivering a seminar to teachers, Donegal being a beautiful place, but quite far away from Louth. And I remember very clearly the messaging coming through: stop what you're doing, lock everything down, get yourselves home. And as those messages were coming through, there was also messages coming through about the crowding and the rioting and the shoving and pushing in the supermarkets, and get there quickly. So there was a real layer of, I would call, anxiety, and the world spinning on its axis. And what bothered me most was I was really far away from home. So what that then did was I had this constant ongoing underlying anxiety about being far away from home when something hit the fan, as it was. And when offices started to reopen and we were going back to work, I had this ongoing separation anxiety, which was really impacting my performance at work. And And I wasn't sharing that with my work colleagues. And it was only that the team I worked with were in the space. They were psychologists and speech and language therapists, that they were kind of open to hearing this kind of thing. And they noticed that I was troubled, and we talked, right? So I was very fortunate that I had colleagues to talk with in my workspace, where not necessarily solving every single problem, but definitely being able to share that and speak about it. And that's where ParenTalk came from. When we can talk out about what's concerning us, often we'll turn the dial down on things, on our anxiety. So another thing that ParenTalk really want to look at too going forward is, can we support internally your employee resource groups, maybe to create those safe parent community spaces where they can share those kind of deeper concerns in a safe way. And that then might be what's required to help us kind of get back to ourselves in terms of who we are and bringing our best selves to work. So that's just my story about how ParenTalk came to be. A lot more to it than that, obviously, as it took a lot of research and discovery, as you can see. And as I said, thank you all for attending here today. Really appreciate your time. I'm not going to hold you any longer. I'm going to stay on and answer any questions that anybody might have in the chat. I'm going to leave my contact details up there for you. We will be recording this, or we are recording this, and I'm more than happy to send out that recording to everybody who's here, unless you tell me you don't want it. Okay, so we don't all want lots of emails to sift through. So if you don't want the recording, tell me. Otherwise, I will assume that you do. And thank you very much for being here today. I'm going to close out the webinar. Feel free to exit the virtual building. And as I said, please do feel free to reach out to me anytime to talk about how we can help your organization. And once again, thank you, Sharon, for being here today and sharing your story with us. Goodbye for now.